Once upon a time, long, long ago, in a land not far from here, there lived a queen. Her name was Queen Crystal. The land was large, rich and prosperous, and the population was growing. The people in this land lived comfortably, in large houses with large windows. Outsiders nicknamed this land as the Land of Glass. The queen ruled this land solely. She had no husband and no children, and when a minister asked her if she didn't feel lonely, she responded, "I love my people as I love a husband, and I look after my people as they were my own children." Although not all was well. To keep their large houses warm, every year, after the harvest season, people went into the forest to cut down trees to use as firewood. From her hilltop castle, Queen Crystal saw the forest getting smaller each year. The glass houses needed more firewood than the forest could supply, and the people struggled more and more each year to stock their winter supplies. The trip to the forest got longer and longer, and the transport back to the city became increasingly difficult. The horses grew tired and the carts got stuck in the mud. Something has to change, thought the queen. The most skilled tradesmen are stuck in the mud to get firewood. Then she had an idea. We have to renovate the city. We brick up all north-facing windows, use the sun to heat our houses, hang up heavy gauge curtains to keep the heat in at night, and make sure the open fireplaces will be replaced by efficient heaters. With this plan in hand, she summoned her ministers. "But Majesty, this is not possible. We need our skilled tradesmen to chop the wood," spoke the minister of arborists. "And we need our skilled people to drag those carts out of the mud," said the minister of roads. "It's part of our culture. Every year there are hundreds of foreign tourists to see our glass houses," said the minister of housing. "Oh yeah," continued the labor minister. "Our people aren't able to do that. We only teach them how to cut down those trees." "So we cannot execute my plan?" asked the queen. "No, impossible," shouted the ministers in sync. "Well, then I've heard enough," said Queen Crystal. After this conversation, the queen called on Nightjan. "Nightjan," started the queen, "I want you to gather all the strong, smart, skilled workers we have and retrain them into bricklayers, seamsters and heater craftsmen. But how do we reach those people? They are always in the forest or in between." "Nightjan," started the queen, "I want you to gather all the strong, smart, skilled workers we have and retrain them into bricklayers, seamsters and heater craftsmen. But how do we reach these people? They are always in the forest or somewhere in between. Each morning, before sunrise, they gather on the market square in a village halfway between the city and the forest." Nightjan. "There they divide work and set out with their carts into the forest. They also stock up on axes and saws on the market." "Very well," said the queen. "Nightjan, make sure you reach those people tomorrow early in the morning and get those people retrained. I expect a report on your progress next week." That night, Nightjan took on a horse to the village square. Whilst riding, he prepared a speech. At the market square, he rang the market bell and started. "Dear people, the queen wants to renovate the glass city. The annual gathering of firewood is becoming too laborsome and time-consuming. You are away from your families too long. On this market square, I will build a school and retrain you into bricklayers, seamsters and heater craftsmen." While he spoke, more and more people gathered around and listened, while holding their breath. Nightjan continued. "When you are retrained, we will go back home and renovate the city, house by house. Your families will be pleased, the house owners will be pleased, and you will be pleased, for you do not need to go to the firewoods any longer." It was dead silent. Nightjan was preparing for applause. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, put forth his chest and was ready to receive the cheers. "Boo! Boo!" Everybody was yelling, shouting, and there was a great kerfuffle. "You aren't allowed to build on the market square," said the market keeper. "I just made a new batch of axes," yelled the blacksmith. "Now I can close shop." "We are only allowed to chop wood from our wood chopping guild," shouted the wood choppers. "You are too late," added the trades merchants. "We will be fined when we do not supply a sufficient amount of firewood. We have renewed contracts with the queen." Nightjan felt quiet and went away to a local inn, disappointed. Disappointed, he sat at the bar. How was this possible? A reasonable plan which would benefit everyone, and no one wants to cooperate. The innkeeper, who has witnessed the whole thing, went to him and said, There, don't give up. I understand those people. Go and talk to them. Listen to what they have to say and come up with the solution. Then it will all work out fine. They are right. You are not allowed to build on this market square, but you could use my great hall to use as a school. And you know the queen, right? Make sure she doesn't renew the contracts with the merchants. With the counsel of the innkeeper in his mind, Nightjan spoke with everybody about their concerns and found a solution. When Nightjan returned after a year instead of after a week at the queen's castle, the queen was furious. "A full year," she shouted. "A full year! You have been away for a whole year. All you had to do is go to the market and retrain everybody. How hard could that be?" Nightjan calmly explained to the queen all the work he has done. The queen understood it was hard to convince everyone. From that moment on, the city slowly changed. There was building going on. The forest started to regrow and the skilled people were busier than ever, but didn't have to work long days in the dark forest, being away from their home for weeks on end. But what about these tourists from faraway lands, you might wonder? Well, they still came, more than ever actually, but not for the glass houses anymore. From then on, they only came to look at the beautiful drapes.